Please welcome Priscilla María, Chief of Staff for the Confess Project, a national grassroots movement that redefines mental health culture for Black boys and men. Priscilla is a researcher, writer, and community builder that strongly believes in the healing power of storytelling and deeply understands how culture and racism affect healthcare access. Please join me in welcoming Priscilla María.
So back in 2018, I was living with my uncle, and in passing, he randomly told me one day that I hadn't experienced anything in life and that I'd always had things easy. In this moment, I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't say that he was incorrect. I didn't correct him. I just felt like, oh, maybe that is how other people view me. Maybe that's how people feel about my experiences. But in retrospect, at this point, my uncle was aware of several traumas that I had experienced, including my molestation and including my brother's battle with addiction and subsequent brain injury, to which he almost died from. So in this moment, I felt mostly hurt, and it kind of echoed the self-invalidation that I often recycled in my head. And I just didn't understand, why would my uncle say that? And I tried to justify it. I tried to understand, well, why would anyone that purports to love me and knows my story, why would they say that to me? And the only rationale I could come up with myself was that in comparison to his experiences, mine aren't that big of a deal, I guess. I did not grow up in a third world, quote unquote, country. I did not have to flee for my life and escape machete attacks and AK-47s. I did not grow up without a father. I did not have to live in poverty in America. I did not have to sleep on floors or live in garages. And so I thought, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right that I am very privileged and whatever I experienced wasn't that big of a deal. But that's not the truth. Everyone's traumas are valid. And I wish in that moment that I knew that and that I accepted that. But I wasn't at that point yet in my healing. And unfortunately, greater society and those in my intimate surroundings really just echoed what he said and reinforced it. Because as a Latina and as a first generation Latina, meaning I'm the first, myself and my cousins are the first ones to live in this country, I really had to navigate a whole new world along with my immigrant parents and relatives. And what I've realized is that when you take American society and you mix it with Latino culture from other countries, it doesn't really serve women and girls. And I've experienced that firsthand. So from the Latino culture and the Latino side, I was raised to be very polite, very helpful. It's almost like my value was tied to how much of service I was to others. And so that's why it's not surprising that when my uncle said this comment, I just took it. That's how I was raised. You're supposed to almost blindly respect your elders and not be someone that causes drama or someone that is difficult. And so when I grew up with those messages of, okay, well, look at your grandmother, look at your aunts, look at your female cousins, look how they are taught to behave. I have to do the same. And then when I look at the American society and American culture, it's almost not necessarily the opposite, but it gives very conflicting messages that, okay, with Latino older generations, women are submissive or helpful or nurturing, but then American media and others in my classes, in my friend circles, they see me as someone who is feisty and sassy and has an attitude and acts ghetto and things of this nature. And so I didn't really understand, well, then who am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to be this subservient woman and girl, or am I supposed to be this firecracker and this person that is belligerent and combative for no reason? So the fact that I have borderline personality disorder, and part of that means that I have identity disruption, I have a shifting self-image, this doesn't help me. This only made me more confused and added to my frustration of not really being able to identify who I am, how I feel, what my place in this world is. And as a sexual abuse survivor, a component of the racism and xenophobia and sexism that we experience is we are often sexualized. You know, Latinas are, if you Google Latina or even an Instagram search, a lot of your searches will have a sexual connotation. And so when I would, behave a certain way, or if I would meet someone, many times people will literally lead with, oh, like, I know you're crazy. I know you're a freak. I know you're this and that. And just very demeaning stereotypes that didn't make me feel good about myself, because my mental health is not a fetish and it's not something that should be the butt of jokes. This crazy Latina girlfriend, archetype that is recycled in comedies and YouTube videos. And so for me, my passion is to shine a light, an honest light, on what a lot of Latinas experience. If you look at my resume, you're not going to see a list of my mental health conditions, which could probably take up a good amount of that page. Because over the years, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, OCD, borderline personality disorder, BPD, um, eating disorder, multiple ones, substance abuse disorder. It's a lot. So for me, growing up, I really just kind of internalized it. Well, it's just my fault. That's just, who I am. Maybe I really am a chola. Maybe I really am crazy. But really, we don't exist in a vacuum. We are very affected by society. We are social creatures as humans. And I've really realized at this age that I am that over the years, unfortunately, a lot of people did let me down and invalidate my feelings. And it's not just guys that I tried to date or friends. It's also been teachers, professors, therapists that have failed me and did not recognize certain symptoms, because that's what Latinas do. We just kind of get mad and we spaz out, and that's just who I am, I guess. But it's not. I have legitimate mental health conditions and they have legitimate symptoms. And that's what a lot of people observed. But unfortunately, Latinas and other people of color, Black and brown, don't have that same privilege to be viewed in an empathetic light. We can see that with Trayvon Martin, with George Floyd, with so many other people that have been the victims of racially charged violence, where they are painted as, being X, Y, and Z, versus we see white counterparts who have committed mass shootings and other horrible acts be given this light of, oh, well, he's mentally ill, he's probably a loner in school, and things of that nature. And on a smaller scale, I feel like that's pretty much something that I've experienced, where I didn't get that benefit of the doubt that maybe she has an issue, or maybe her traumas truly did affect her, and that's why she's acting this way. And so whether it's my uncle or greater society or people in my immediate environment, that is still something I cope with, is having to validate my own feelings and stand up for myself. And it reminds me of what Audre Lorde said. And she said, caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. As a Latina, I was not taught self-care. I was not taught to put myself first. I was always taught to help others. And what are you doing to support, the male family members? What is your role to better the household? It was never about me. It was always very much about the unit and how I'm contributing to the unit. But her quote says that, no, you can take up space. You can claim your own space. And that is revolutionary when you have people in your face and crossing your path, telling you that you don't matter, either explicitly or implicitly through their actions and their treatment of you. And so that's something that I really hold on to. So whether it's doing my hair, doing my makeup, or going on a walk, it's not just about me, burning some calories or looking aesthetically pleasing. It's about me taking time out of my workday to say that I matter, that I can't be happy or function properly if I'm not resting right, if I'm not eating right, and if I'm not okay with who I am. that in itself is saying to capitalism and other white supremacist systems and ideologies that as a Latina and as a woman of color, I matter, and I'm going to take my time and my space to just be me and just develop my talents even more for whatever I want to do. It's not just what am I doing for the bottom line of the organizations I work for, or what am I doing for my family to advance what we're doing. It's just about Priscilla. And so, if there's anything I can say to someone listening to this, is that please take time for your own self care. No matter your identity, you do matter. And you cannot pour into other people's cups if your own cup is empty and if you're not okay with yourself. So thank you.